Okay, welcome to Boardgame Babylon, but of course we're calling this Boardgame Babble-On because it's not exactly the same thing as the original podcast because, hello, you can see video of me here in my game library and you can see my wonderful guest, Brad Brooks, designer of Rise of Tribes. We'll talk a little bit more about some other stuff that he's doing very shortly. Brad, thank you for joining me on I think I'm going to have to call this one of the first episodes of Board Game Babylon because technically there have been a couple of other little things that who knows what will manifest first. So, welcome.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I have to say, as we were talking even just before we started recording, it's 2020 still. It's a little before Turkey Day, and we're in this crazy year of horrible stuff happening in 2020. Like, we won't get into the politics of it, but obviously we're all experiencing coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you call it. I think I'm Gen X, so we have to call it. I believe we call it COVID-19, and the older generations call it coronavirus, and the younger kids call it like the Rona or whatever. So yeah, you can tell. But we're here in COVID-19 land, and it's obviously had an impact on all of us playing board games. We've missed conventions this year, or they've turned virtual, and we can't have our friends over and do all the wonderful stuff that we love to do, sharing snacks and touching game pieces and whatever it is. So I would love to hear, if you don't mind, how has this year been for you from a gaming perspective? If you just give us a little bit of an idea of what's changed or how's it been going?
Yeah, it's been dramatic. It's funny. The thing that happened just before things shut down was I was at a convention in Vegas in, I guess that would be, it was February into March. It was like right over the crossover there.
Dice Tower. I was there as well. Yeah, Dice Tower West or something. Yeah.
Dice Tower West. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was great and everything. But I remember there was like this, yeah, there's this thing going on. I wonder if it's going to affect us. I wonder what that's going to be like. And I feel like it was like a week after that or something that like my day job shut down and everything locked down. And we've been in that since then. So that's like my last sort of feeling ever more distant memory of remember when we used to get together and move pieces around on a real table. Yeah. And then since then, there's been very little. I've got family at home. Turns out none of them are super excited about playing board games. I've gotten to play a few things here or there, but almost everything else has been online. And then, of course, with trying to get a new publishing company launched off the ground, the 90 something percent of those sessions have been the game that we're trying to get out in front of people.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful transition into the fact that bad things happening this year, but also good things happening this year. They say it's a wonderful time to start a new business. So I'm very excited to hear that Cardboard Alchemy is a new venture that you have got going on with a mutual friend of ours, Peter Vaughn, who's famous for bringing some amazing games out from Breaking Games. But tell us about Cardboard Alchemy.
Yeah, so Peter and I have, known each other for years, worked together on my projects, Letter Tycoon and Rise of Tribes and Rise of Tribes Beast and Bronze. So we've decided that we want to have a little more control over everything, that we want to burden ourselves with every bit of the minutia. And we want to bring the games that we've got in our heads to everybody. So we decided to create our own publishing company. We decided that we want to go for hardcore mode. So we're doing it in 2020 when you can't actually get together with anyone and everything's virtual. So we want all the challenges. But yeah, so Cardboard Alchemy is that publishing company. We had an introductory Kickstarter back in July where we wanted to say hi to everybody. So we had a series of coasters. We had the artists that we work with, Sergio Chavez, make us some sort of thematic coasters. There was a sort of sci-fi adventure coaster, there was a fantasy coaster, and there was a horror coaster. And he had some really great artwork for it. And so we put those up and said, hey, everybody, we'll send you some coasters. You can use them for your game night. And we just want to introduce ourselves. And we did that on Kickstarter because that's going to be our main marketing platform. But we wanted to have people know about us before we came out with a game and tried to do things cold. And
Cool.
now we've gotten to the point where we've got the game.
That's very cool. I will confess, I do believe I missed the coaster Kickstarter, but then I'm not a hardcore Kickstarter guy myself. I'm not watching it as closely as that because honestly, I like to have a house and don't want to get too much in debt. But so coasters aside, the next thing is a game, and this launched just a couple of days ago, right? or a little bit late last year.
17th. Yep.
So tell us about this new game, which I have no information on whatsoever. So I need the full pitch.
So we met with a friend of ours. We used to have a lot of play testing sessions in LA because so Peter does everything. So Peter was working as director of development for Breaking Games, but he was also running First Play LA, which was a group that did playtesting sessions for, you could sign up as a designer, you could sign up as a play tester, and swapped all that around. Fairly large events with 50 people in an afternoon playtesting everything. One of the games that I saw there was Matt Walters had this game that at the time he was calling Escape the Casimir, where you're on a spaceship, it's caught in a meteor storm, the spaceship's going to blow up, so you've got to escape off of it. Unfortunately, one of the things that got damaged was the controls for the escape pods, and only one of them is going to work. Mm-hmm. It was a game he had been playing Pandemic with his wife and friends and stuff, and they all decided that playing Pandemic with Matt was Matt plays the game and they all take orders. So
the director in cooperative
yes.
games, which some people don't like. I don't know why, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I make perfectly good decisions for them. I don't know why they don't like it.
Right.
So he decided that he wanted to take a try at designing a game, and his goal was to make something where he couldn't, because of the design of the game, he couldn't tell everybody else what to do. So he went for this sort of competitive, but with you've got to work together to make sure the ship doesn't blow up too soon, because then everybody loses element to it. We saw that. It's probably been a couple of years ago now. We're really interested in it. So when we launched the company, we went to Matt and said, we want to make your game. We thought it was a really good platform because it had a lot of ways to expand it and to do different play modes on it. He had done some work in that direction. So we just brought more of that in. We've renamed it Mission Catastrophe. Mm-hmm. So you are 1 to 6 aliens on this ship, this mining ship. And again, it's the asteroid that you were approaching has exploded. It's raining hot, pointy death down on your ship. And so every turn, the ship is going to take more damage. And you've got 12 different modules, your bridge, your engine room, your teleporter, your cargo bay. Each of them does something different, but each of them can take damage. And as they take damage, first hit doesn't do anything. Next one, the module loses power and it doesn't do its function anymore. And the last one, it's exposed to the vacuum of space. And if you don't have a spacesuit and you're in that room, you have to ditch all of what you've got and run to a room that does continue to have oxygen.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's it's quick, which is one of the things as a company that we're looking for, is games that don't overstay their welcome on the table. Mm-hmm. We want to get what you can get the juice out of it in an appropriate amount of time. If you really like it, you'll play it again, but more chances to get it to the table if it doesn't last 3.5 hours.
Yes, that is a subject, obviously, for serious gamers quite frequently. It's what's your cost per play, how many times you actually played this thing. I love that game, but nobody ever wants to actually sit down and set it up, and there's too much administration. So that's a noble goal. Make sure people are getting value out of the games that they buy. And I honestly, at the end of the day, as I look to one of the things I think everybody's doing this year is assessing things a little bit. You go, wow, do you want to keep that game on your shelf that you haven't played in 5 years, 10 years? I look at that very closely myself as far as how long it's been since I've played certain games. And if it doesn't get to the table, what's the point of owning it? Yeah. Very appealing. I love the idea too that he wanted to solve a problem. I work in startups, and that's always the best founders are the ones that are solving a problem for themselves. And I love the idea of a game designer going, geez, this kind of pisses people off. I should go figure out a game that won't allow for such a thing.
Let me find a reason for people to play with me. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I like 1 to 6 players too, which is obviously lets it scale to a large number. And then also one thing this year in 2020 that we often need is solo play. So yes. That sounds like a good experience as well. So then I like that idea that it scales like that. Is this something where on the Kickstarter that you have separate modules, or you say it's got a modular sense of it? Are there some additional things that are going to be part of stretch goals or add-ons and stuff like that?
Yes and yes. So we're actually selling, there's a base game,
Hmm.
which comes with, you can play cooperatively, you can play competitively is the main mode, cooperatively, in which case you add in marauders are also attacking, taking the opportunity to attack the ship while it's down.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
so now you're all working together player wise, but the game has put a little bit more stakes on the table.
yeah, you
And
never.
then it's got team play.
Yeah. Team play as well. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
nice. So yeah, that's great that there's so many options to be able to play it. What's the what now? So what is the speaking of how long is it going to sit on your table then? What's the runtime?
You can, let's see, you can actually, if you play badly, you can get blown up and die pretty quickly. But it
Fair.
generally is 30 to 60 minutes, going
Reasonable.
faster the more familiar you are with it.
Yeah. No, no, very reasonable amount of time on the table then. So yes, and I can see that actually happening with some frequency. What about complexity level? Is this something that I can get my casual gamer like daughter and wife into, or just my son and myself?
No, absolutely. It's pretty easy to pick up. You're basically, your turn as you roll dice to see where the damage
Mhm.
happens. Then you've got three actions to take. You've got built-in actions you can do, move or repair the module you're in. You've got a hand of cards that let you break the rules, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. You don't happen to have any boxes or artwork right next to you, right there, or anything like that?
I do. If you want to give me 1 second, I
Okay,
can grab a box cover.
okay, I'll count. One. He's not back. I don't know what's going on. This was unplanned. I don't want to blame Brad for not being prepared. I didn't say where's all the stuff, but the visualization, obviously, of what this is going to be, I think sounds very attractive. Oh, look at that! Look at that! So there's the box. Mission Catastrophe. It's obviously the prototype, so maybe not final, but yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that's Sergio Chavez's art, who's just amazing. He did Rise of Tribes and some of the dwellings of Eldervale artwork too.
Oh, okay. So yes, I remember both games with I think very attractive art indeed, and a lot of stuff. Oh my gosh, the Dwellings of there's so much, there's so much in that game. That's very cool. So well, so that is now launched on Kickstarter. How and when are people going to have an opportunity to run through? When does that? When does how long does the Kickstarter go?
So we're going until I believe it's December 10th.
Okay, so we'll put that in the notes of the video so that everyone will be able to check that out and see if they're interested in. There's a base game and then there's additional things as well.
So there's, yeah, I think so we've got a base game. It's got all of those modes in it. It has 6 characters, and that's all good to go. And then there's an expansion that you can buy, which fits inside. It'll come in the box. There's no separate box or anything. Everything
Right.
will just be in there. And it adds 2 more characters. There's also role cards you can pick. You can be the captain or you can be whatever. So we add a whole bunch of more roles to the game. There's a additional co-op solo mode scenario
Mm-hmm.
and a few extra what we call pip cards, which are the personal information program cards, which are the cards you hold in your hand. We've got some more options for those.
Cool. Very cool. And last thing, does this game exist already on one of these physics engines like Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator, whatever, all these other ones that are out there so that people can play it live? Are there demos or anything going on?
Absolutely, yeah. We've got it on Tabletop Simulator. That was one of my quarantine tasks was learning how to get things up on Tabletop Simulator.
Ah, okay. There.
Uh, so we've got it up there, and Peter runs regular demo sessions of it, usually on Thursdays, but also on some other days. And if you check out the Kickstarter, there's information on how to get hooked up with him via Discord to set up a game.
Awesome. All right. Sounds great. Brad, I thank you for telling me a little bit about Mission Catastrophe. That's really cool. Is there anything else going on with Cardboard Alchemy like that you want to tease? Anything that you guys still have going? Obviously, you got this Kickstarter. You got your hands full right now, certainly. But I'm sure you're looking ahead to the future. So, what's still to come for Cardboard Alchemy?
Yeah, we've got more games in the works. We don't have anything that we've announced yet, but we're definitely looking into next year. There is a little bit of, I think when we started, we were assuming by the end of the year we'd get back to normal. That hasn't happened.
Didn't we all think that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're agile, always agile. But yeah, our plan is to have another Kickstarter next year, and we've got some games lined up for that. We're also willing to hear from people about games that they want to pitch to us.
Okay, all right. So I will share contact information for Cardboard Alchemy as well on the details on here in case anybody wants to pitch. I apologize ahead of time if you get a bunch of horrible games sent to you. So, all right, Brad. Thanks so much for joining me on Board Game Babylon today. Appreciate you filling us in. Congratulations on the launch of Cardboard Alchemy. A little late. Again, I missed the coasters, but I'm excited to hear. I know both of you guys incredible creative minds. I'm, of course, a big fan of Letter Tycoon as well as Rise of Tribes, and having played those many times. But I'm excited to see what you guys develop out of this too.
Have you tried Letter Tycoon up on Board Game Arena?
I have not. I have not. I didn't know it was on there. Oh,
It
fantastic.
it is. It's in beta up there, and I've started playing, and I'll have to say my win ratio is not great. Um,
No, I love it. I have to confess that I am a much bigger fan of things like Board Game Arena or Yukata, where like the logic is implemented. I'm a little less enthusiastic about going to Tabletop Simulator or Tabletopia or whatever other ones are like that. I don't know, like me, it's just too much work in some ways. I know I play with one friend of mine who like does everything. I'm like, all right, if we're gonna play that, you're gonna flip these cards, or you're gonna deal everything badly. But I'm so just not interested. A demo, it's worth it for a demo, but I'm just to play normal.
yeah,
Nah, yeah,
I totally get you. And I know when we first started having to do our playtesting that way, I think we spent a large amount of time griping. Why does this work this way? Why does this like this? Why do I have to do this dumb, program? Why doesn't it do this thing? And repetition, you actually get used to it. And the one nice thing I can think of at the moment, you like do something and you mess the board all up and you want to start over. Nobody has to pick stuff up. You just relaunch again and just start from the starting point. And if you do, as the tabletop simulator designer, if you do a little bit of scripting to make everything just set up correctly,
right.
it allows you to just bang through things pretty quickly. But
Yeah,
I'd still rather get together with people around the table.
yeah. There's no. Let's be clear. There's no. This is not a replacement. This is just what we have to do. It's like wearing a mask. It sucks, but
Yes.
oh my gosh, please wear a mask because like we have to do this because it's a health hazard. But yes, no, I get what you're saying, and like I got to get over myself. Like I also whine about Steam as well. Like I don't some of the experiences there are not so great. But again, Board Game Arena is pretty slick. Other than its really bad error messaging, like painful, smash you in the head with a sledgehammer error messaging, but it's pretty good. And then Yukata, it was my first love for online gaming and for asynchronous play. That's still a joy, and I still am constantly playing on there. But that's hey, the new world we're in. We got to figure this stuff out because it may be a little while longer before we can get together and hang out as we love to. I literally yesterday I said to my wife something about how much I was so happy that I went to Dice Tower West, which I'd never been to before this last year. Totally somebody poked me and went like, "Let's go." I really didn't feel like going because I just Strategicon was like 2 weeks before or something like that.
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot of time. Oh my gosh, I'm so thankful because I saw some people there that I don't get to see all that just don't get to see at conventions as much, and I'm so grateful for that time. And it was a great con. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
definitely. It's that larger thing of you don't know when's the sort of last time you're going to get to do something. Don't take anything for granted.
what an insane year. Well, they say that this is a great time to launch a new business, so you guys did the right thing, and I'm excited for Cardboard Alchemy to be a big success, and look forward to trying this. I'm definitely going to sign up for the demo and check it out, and I'll comment on it and share it accordingly. So,
Great. I appreciate it.
all right, thanks so much, Brad.
Sounds good. Thanks.